Yesteryear in Nashville. A journey into the past with the people who made country music history. And now here's your host, Archie Campbell.
She was the first woman to have a million-selling country music record with I Want to Be a Cowboy's Sweetheart. And as a star of the WLS Barn Dance, was one of the most well-known country and western acts in America during the 1930s and 40s. And we'll be right back to meet her after this.
I want to be a cowboy sweetheart. I want to learn to rope and to ride.
Our special guest today is someone who may have been the most well-known female country music star during the 30s and 40s, Miss Patsy Montana.
Hi, Archie.
Patsy, I met you a long time ago, but nobody knew me then, and I don't expect you to remember it.
I don't remember. So today is really a special day for me because I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. You're an artist, right?
Yeah, you knew
yeah,
that?
I know. Yeah, sure I did. I'm trying to be, so we got that in common.
This is one of mine right here. Put the camera on it, folks. Right up there it is. The old mill.
It's beautiful.
The old mill. I still have about 1,000 prints left.
Cheap?
Well, they're not too cheap. You know, you've been classified, of course, as a western star. And a country western, they call it now. And over a period of years, it's changed, you know. And I don't know, is there any difference?
Well, yes. You know, people have asked me, you know how I used to explain it? I used to say that Roy Rogers is a western singer. Roy Acuff is a country singer.
Yeah.
And they'd think about that. Yeah, that's right, that's right. So that's the nearest I can get to explaining the difference. Yeah. You sing about the riding down the Sunset Trail instead of riding on Old Smokies or something like that. It's still the same.
Yeah, and we talk about going up in the mountains and hunting bear.
Yeah.
With clothes on.
Oh, you mean, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hunting bears. You know, I remember a show that you were on. Man, it was red hot and very popular. WLS Barn Dance.
That's right. People never forget it.
What was the address of it? 8th Street?
8th Street Theater. That's where we put the show on a Saturday night. But the Prairie Farmer Station is where we did all of our slave work through the week. Yeah. You know, being on the regular staff. Right. In fact, we lived there.
Of course, now, would you say that the WLS Barn Dance and the Grand Ole Opry were about equal in popularity during that time?
Not then. No, no, no.
Which was the most popular?
Well, WLS was around the first, so that question answers itself. Did you know that?
WLS before?
Yeah, I think Ernest Tubbs and me are the only two people in Nashville know that WLS was around first, the barn dance.
Now, Patsy, was the WLS Barn Dance on all week long or just on Saturday night?
All week long. We were on the staff. Every day we were on the air. Oh, sure. 6 days a week.
Yeah?
Well, yeah.
Well, that made you a living at least, didn't it?
Yeah, we got experience. They're sure paying off now.
Well, that's basically the same as WSM was, too, you know. They had their early morning shows and things like that.
The farm reports and all that stuff, yeah.
Right, yeah. How did the two differ, the WSM Grand Ole Opry and WLS Barn Dance?
Well, I don't know too much, except that we had our own booking office. Worked right there at WLS. None of us
I was going to ask you that.
None of us had personal agents like they do in Nashville. Everybody has their personal agent. Yeah. We booked out of WLS booking office. That's where I met my husband.
Now, who were some of the people that you worked with?
Oh, of course, Gene Autry, Little George Goebel, which we were discussing, Pat Buttram, Red Foley, and Grace Wilson, Homer Jethro. We had them all.
I know you did.
Just about it.
Used to be, a lot of people don't know that it used to be Little Georgie Goebel.
Oh, yeah, he's still little. He's not very tall.
Still little, but he had a guitar and sang cowboy songs and yodeled.
Oh, yeah, his big number wasn't exactly, picking berries at old Aunt Mary's or something like that was his big number. And you know why he picked the ukulele? Because if he'd played the guitar, they'd had to pay him more money because that was a union instrument when the ukulele wasn't. Maybe they'd had to pay him $10. Maybe this way he wasn't paying him nothing. I don't know, but he laughs about it now. He could play the guitar all along, but they wouldn't let him.
Patsy Montana, how did you ever get the name Patsy Montana? That's not your real name.
No, I've been asked that 10 billion times. I've been intending to print a little card and give to people. I used to work with Monty Montana, the roper, world champion roper, some stories have said world champion yodeler, but he's a roper. And I worked with 2 other girls, and we were a trio. And he was Montana. And so we sort of pretended to be a family. We played schools and theaters and everything. You know, Monty would do his roping and riding, and we'd do the singing. So it just really happened. My real name is Ruby. Well, one of the girls' name was Ruthie. So Stuart Hamlin, you know, he's the guy that wrote this whole house.
Name?
My last name, first name is Ruby. Ruby.
Ruby what?
Oh, Ruby Blevins before I got married, see.
Yeah.
Back then, I wasn't married. See.
You were Ruby Blevins.
Yeah, that's right.
And suddenly you're Patsy Montana.
Well, see, Ruthie sounded too much like Ruby. So Stuart Hamlin, we were working on his radio show. Stuart Hamlin, the guy who wrote this whole house,
right.
you know. Me being more Irish than anything else, I imagine you're Irish too, aren't you? We could get off that stuff.
Mostly Scotch, a little ginger ale.
So so me being more Irish, they just christened me Patsy. It just happened. It just stuck.
Did you enjoy making movies?
Yeah, it was just a natural thing for me. I didn't feel, just like when television came along, it's all the same. Yeah. In television, now you have a little red button to look at, you know. Yeah, I didn't feel no different change about it. I thought it was fun. Took forever to do nothing. You'd be made up at 6 o'clock, maybe you get on the camera at 5 in the afternoon or something. But it was fun.
When you make them outside like that, get up before daylight, that's what I used to do. Get up before daylight, put your makeup on.
You're supposed to look fresh.
And burn up all day.
Oh, yeah. You can always quit, you know. That's just what I used to say.
You know something I always enjoyed in the movies? They don't do it anymore. I don't think they do. I haven't been to movies too much. I watch television, but shorts. Making the shorts. Do you do a lot of those? Yeah,
back in those days, see, they'd have a feature movie, and maybe the news.
Yeah.
And then they'd have a short. That's where Red Foley got his idea to write Old Shep. Remember the song?
Oh, yeah.
To me, his best. He saw a short of a boy and his dog. And he came back to the barn dance that night, and he said, Patsy, I wrote a hit. Of course, we didn't. He said,
Did he
I remember
write
the title. Yeah, he had another guy help him. I forgot his name. Oh, yes. Red Foley and Old Shep. And when I go to England now, that's a must every night. And if somebody on the front row don't just bawl, not cry, but just bawl, when I sing Old Shep, I flop for the night. Oh, it's big over there.
Tell us about some of the movies you were in.
Well, I was with Gene. You know, when Gene Autry first went to Hollywood, you know, and became big, before he became really big, I'll say that, they began to put a lot of local stars in with him, like Patsy Montana. I was particularly popular in the Midwest. They put different stars with him to help boost up the movie. And that helped Gene get started. So I was in Colorado Sunset. Colorado Sunset, yeah. It was the first full feature movie, and then a bunch of shorts and stuff.
Did you run away into the sunset with a cowboy or anything?
No, Smiley Burnett was my sweetheart, and I was an ingenue. I wasn't pretty enough to be the leading lady, you know. I was a tomboy part, which I felt more at home with anyway. It was a lot of fun. Push him out in a week, 2 weeks at the most, you know.
We'll be right back with Patsy Montana.
I want to be a cowboy sweetheart. I want to learn to rope and to ride. I want to...
We're talking with Patsy Montana. Tell us about the Prairie Ramblers.
Oh, I get stars in my eyes. A lot of memories when you mention that, Archie. They were as close as my brothers, and I had 10 brothers, and no sisters, by the way. So I don't know, the four Prairie Ramblers, we just worked side by side, and worked so long with each other, just with us. They're just like my brothers. They're all gone now. None of them died of old age, really, but I'm the only one left now. I'm still perking, yeah.
You're looking great.
Tex Atchison was the last one to go about 2 years ago. He died of cancer of the throat.
When we mentioned the fact that you were popular in the 30s, that was a good while ago. Aren't you glad that you're still here? And a lot of people didn't make it, you know.
Well, that's what I'm not going to complain. There's another alternative there.
That's right.
I like to quote George Burns. He's a little older than I am, but I like to quote him. He'd rather be over the hill than under it. No, actually, Archie, now I think I've had more fun now than I ever did. You just learn to relax as you grow older.
That's right.
But whatever's going to bother you today, it's going to be gone tomorrow. But I never pushed for center stage, so I never had to fight that.
Everybody has to have a philosophy.
I think so. I just accidentally acquired that without knowing it, really. I have to look back at it. Yeah.
Now, Patsy, you were the first woman, and which is a rare thing at that time especially, to have a million-selling record.
Well, I guess it is now looking back, because when I started in radio, there was no girls around. You know, the only girl I can think of is Kate Smith. We didn't have very much in common, you know. You remember Kate Smith?
Oh, sure.
That wasn't before your time.
She lives over in North Carolina now.
I knew she was still alive.
She's not well, really.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
She lives over there.
Well, anyway, we had to, I guess, create an image, but I didn't notice it. I grew up with a bunch of men, boys. So stepping into men's world didn't bother me at all. I was ready for it. I'd learned to fight pretty early. But the only thing about it, they didn't write songs for girls.
Well,
you know
the
that?
song you did, of course, was fit right in with the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, that was the era of the singing cowboy then. That's just what you sang
I want to
about.
be a cowboy, I want to be a cowboy's sweetheart.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the tune, isn't it? Did I remember it?
Yeah, you sure did. Almost.
Did you write that?
Yeah, both words and music. Do you know still having to pay the bills? The only thing the song has got, whatever it's got the ingredients to survival. All the changes of country music. As of right now, it's on 7 different labels.
Really?
Margot Smith just put out an album and used it.
Well, what's the angle on songs like that, for example, of getting big in England and you don't get them played here? It's the fact that we've heard them already and it's new
Well, now
there?
that's hard to answer. I don't know. I really don't know. See, it seems like the English like a different type of music. England, they've always been steeped in tradition. Not only music, but tradition. It's like they still drive on the wrong side of the road over there, you know. And I think that's music. They just hold on to the older music. I guess, I don't know.
They don't call them cowboys anymore either. It's against the law. You got to say cow person.
I refuse to say that. I won't compromise.
You remember Uncle Art Satherley?
Oh, Uncle Art. I just saw him last week,
Really?
Archie. He's up in his 90s now.
Oh, I know. He lives in
Sharp as a
California.
tack. Oh, yeah. Not too far from me. I go out and see him once in a while. And when I can't go, I call him.
He produced a lot of your records.
Oh,
didn't he?
all the early hits, yeah. And in fact, everybody has an angel. If that's true, then I have. Art Satherley's my angel.
Yeah, well, everybody says that about him.
You know, girls weren't selling on records either, but Art must have liked the song. He had faith in the song or something.
Yeah.
Why, what all to him?
Art Satherley did most of your recordings. Of course, the biggest one you had was I Want to Be a Cowboy Sweetheart.
Still, as I say, it survived.
Did I get the tune right that time?
Kinda.
Well,
you have to yodel to do that song, though. Can you yodel?
You write it?
Yeah, both words and music.
Hey, that's great.
I was lucky there.
What are some of your other songs?
Well, I tell you, my biggest number during the war was Good Night Soldier. And, of course, the biggest singing number was Star Spangled Banner Waving somewhere, but I didn't get that on record. There was a strike kept me from getting it on record.
Yeah, Elton
but my
Britt.
my biggest seller was Good Night Soldier during the war. Of course, the minute the war ended, it's just turned off like a faucet.
Did you know Elton Britt?
I sure did.
He
Way back when. He was the best.
He was the yodeler. He was the Patsy Montana of the male animal.
Well,
Clan.
that's figured
Bunch.
pretty strong. Nobody can even... you know, I think Elton was the best of the singer and yodel. A lot of people can sing, can't yodel, but he was the best of the two, I think.
Yeah.
I
Great
was down in
voice.
Dallas,
He could have done any kind of music.
Yeah, I was in Dallas, Texas just 2 weeks ago, and they had a yodeling contest. I was down there to do my bit, you know, in the yodeling contest. So I thought I'd do a medley of Elton Britt songs. People still remember him.
Oh, sure they do.
Oh, sure.
See, I'm sitting here telling you all these titles of these tunes and so forth.
You got a good memory. I've had people come up and ask me for a song, and sorry, I don't know it. You ought to. You wrote it. Now, that's kind of embarrassing.
Well, now, your records are going good overseas now.
Yeah, believe it or not, there's a company in West Germany called Cattle. Can we put that plug in? Yeah. Cattle Records. And he's reproduced. I have 5 albums now with Cattle Records. All old 78s reproduced. The same records, just cleaned up a little bit. And they're selling. And I'll have another one out just in a few weeks. And then another one. So he says I've still got enough for 2 more albums. I didn't know I recorded that many songs.
What label is this?
Cattle. Cattle, like a cow.
Yeah.
You know, cattle.
Records.
Yeah. Then I have an American label. I'm on Old Homestead. I have Waylon Jennings playing 12-string guitar on that one. Yeah, I saw Waylon in West Germany in last October, and I presented him with a copy of this album. I think he forgot about making it. We got a cute picture of him accepting this album.
You're talking about being popular overseas. During the 70s, you were discovered by the college group. You did a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, if I had my way, Archie, I would do the college circuit exclusively. I don't know, somehow or other I have a good rapport with that age group, 18 to 22. And I discovered I had a gimmick, and guess what it was?
What?
Yodeling.
Oh,
You got to
yeah.
have a... I had a gimmick all these years and didn't know it. They love the yodeling.
Well, absolutely, but yodeling is that's awfully hard to do.
Well, not anybody can do it, I'll say that.
Don't you think that, though, that in order to be a good yodeler, you have to just naturally have that voice? I can't yodel a lick.
Well,
I
I asked a voice teacher one time, what is a yodel? It's a break from your natural voice to a falsetto.
That's right.
And you break on your vowels, like A, I, O's, like that. But you got to get that little break. I could teach you to yodel, but I can't teach you to get the break.
Well, if you know, I can't go, hey.
No, that ain't a yodel.
Oh.
You got an Adam's apple. You ought to be able to do it real good. We
I
don't.
can't do it. I've tried it. I wanted to yodel.
You got to have a 10-acre field to start with. My mother used to call it hollerin'. I'd put on old Jimmy Rogers records, you know. I remember we had an old tall Victrola kind of.
She called it what?
Hollerin'. Get out of the house with all that hollerin'. For me, years it was called hollerin'.
And Patsy, you know, the Grand Ole Opry has been on the air almost 60 years. Well, the WLS barn dance ended around in the late 50s, I think. Well, what happened?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. The stockholders of WLS was getting to that age of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And television came along, and they thought television was a passing fad, believe it or not. Actually, WLS should have been the first show of its type. We had the theater, we had the artists, we had the reputation. That's what happened.
Isn't that amazing,
exactly
you know?
what
And you know, the people make decisions like that. They sit up there in the little ivory tower, you know, and it makes me mad sometimes to think that they can make a decision about when I'm out there in the field and I see the people and talk to them. I said, why did you do that?
Yeah.
You know, they
That's
just
exactly
forget to
what
say,
happened.
let's kill a thing here that's made us famous and so forth. And radio is going to be here as long as anything else. Radio and television go hand in hand.
I know last time I saw Gene Autry, we were talking, wasn't talking baseball. I said, Gene, why don't you bring all your money, why don't you bring back live radio? And he looked at me, his eyes just twinkled, never said a word. I don't know what his answer is.
Well, we're used to it
Great.
now. Records are the
Oh, yeah.
thing. So I like it that way. But then I like some of the live disc jockeys.
I do too. That's reason I listen to a lot of talk shows. It's live,
Right, yeah.
spontaneous. Well, that's where the barn dance used to be. I can remember we didn't have scripts for a long time.
Maybe we ought to put this on radio. Let's talk to them about that. Make
an
this
idea.
radio. It'll be good on radio.
Yeah, I'll line up for your guest. Just give me a yodel and
Okay.
I'll be here.
We'll be right back with Patsy Montana. We're talking with Patsy Montana. You got some daughters?
I sure have. I had 2 daughters. I'm still married to the same husband. That's a miracle there.
How long you been married?
50 years. It's 3rd of July.
You know, tomorrow is the 7th,
That sounds
isn't it?
impossible, but it's true.
I'm dating this thing here, but I'm just saying a month. Tomorrow's my anniversary, too.
Congratulations.
41 years.
No kidding. Well, you maybe catch
Same
up with me.
same old gal.
Well, my husband's coming into Nashville this week, and he's never been here during fanfare. I started talking to
How
him
about
into
your
it.
daughters? Yeah.
Well,
you used to work with them?
Yes, at one time we were radio's only mother and daughter trio. Now at that time the Carter family was around, but there's 4 sisters there.
Yeah.
Remember 3 sisters, and the mother made the 4. And my oldest daughter, she got smart and got out of the business, got married and settled down. But Judy, my youngest daughter, she's doing very well. I'm very proud of her. She has, I guess, what they call a crossover voice now. She don't sing corny like me, you know. And she's lost her yodel somewhere along the line. But we do occasional shows together. In fact, we did quite a few of them until she wanted to, well, she wants to work 8 days a week and 36 hours a day, and I don't want to work that hard. I've already been there. So she's doing real well. Judy Rose. She goes by her real name, Judy Rose.
Now, Patsy, you and I are from 2 different parts of the country, but during your career, you did a lot of traveling and touring. How was going on the road then compared to now?
Every time I see those big fancy buses, I sort of laugh. Well, to start with, you can't miss anything you never had. You know how we used to drive.
Say that again. That's a great philosophy there. You can't miss...
You can't miss nothing you never had. We couldn't miss the big buses. We'd never had them. We used to ride. Now, this is no kidding. I'm not playing my fiddle, you know. We used to ride thousands of miles with a bass fiddle, old doghouse bass, with 5 people in the car, and we put the bass in catty corner, you know, crossways. And I just wonder how many hours I've slept, rolled up my purse or pillow something, laying on the neck of that fiddle, bass fiddle.
That's exactly.
With 4 guys in the car and me. If it's nice weather, we'd put it on the top.
You load the
Most of the time
trunk.
it was snowing or something.
You load the trunk down with guitars and banjos and the bass fiddle, but a lot of times they put it on top.
Yeah, if the weather was nice.
Tie it down, but that was a little dangerous because they cost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see these big buses. They would have been nice to have, but I would say you didn't miss it. Didn't have it.
But you got used to it. You get in the car, you know, and the bass fiddle's hitting you right in the jaw here.
It
So
gave
you
me a
go
place
over
to
here
lay my head.
Go to sleep.
Sure. So, see, we had something they don't have now, see. No, you'll get a kick out of this, Archie. I was someplace last week, I believe in Texas last week. A fellow introduced me as Dolly Parton of my era. That took me a little bit off guard, you know, and if I walked on stage, I said, the only thing Dolly Parton and I have in common is we're both short, and I'm not that much taller. Oh, she's great. I love Dolly.
Yeah, she's
very talented.
Fine little lady. Now, you've accomplished an awful lot in your life. You've had the big records and so forth. Which of your accomplishments in music are you the proudest of?
I think maybe endurance.
Endurance.
I'm still here. I'm still working. It works. I had stopped. I just slowed down. Maybe that's it. I've met a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
A lot of nice people. That's the nicest thing, I think.
That's
the people
right.
you meet along the way. You meet a lot of people, but you only really have a very few friends, you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be it. It's just the people you meet along the way, because every person's different.
You got a record in the Smithsonian Institute, right?
I learned last week that Smithsonian Institution.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah, they had a thing for me up there a year or so ago, and I donated an outfit to hang in along with the dinosaurs and all that stuff there, you know, in the American Museum Park. And they did have Pee Wee King's hat there. But no, I was just in Washington, D.C. last week, and guess whose hat's next to me now? J.R. Ewing. J.R.'s hat's in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then they have Judy Garland's red slippers and Ginger Rogers' dress and Frank Sinatra's bow tie. And here my old leather outfit's hanging right in there with the rest of them. Kind of out of place.
They haven't asked me for a thing.
They haven't? Well, I'm sure they'll be taking mine out pretty soon. They'll hang them. What, you got some boots or ties?
No, maybe that's the reason I don't have anything.
Listen, present the painting to the president. Maybe that'll get you there.
Well, Patsy, I want to tell you that it's been delightful having you here on Yesteryear in Nashville, TNN.
Well, I want you to know 50% of the pleasure has been mine. Really, I've enjoyed it.
We've been talking with Patsy Montana. Join us again for Yesteryear in Nashville.